The Land Before Time is a fantastic 80s movie that so deserves to be remastered. Seriously, trying to watch it on Netflix was so grainy that a lot of the animation was blurry. SOOF, guys, save our old films! Current day quality aside, The Land Before Time took the directing brilliance of Don Bluth and paired it with the production genius of Steven Spielberg, making the result an animated treasure. Now, somewhere in the late 90s, 1,000 low-quality straight-to-video sequels came out to take advantage of that mindless toddler market, but they are nothing like the original. Please do not judge the original based on the other movies. Oh, and if you can't tell, I don't consider The Land Before Time 2 through 2000 canon for the first film. And just to get this observation out of the way, Disney's Dinosaur totally ripped off this movie, and Dinosaur wasn't even half as heartfelt as The Land Before Time. And hey, old Rooter talks about the circle of life years before The Lion King was singing about it. So for those of you who haven't seen this movie, I'm about to spoil everything. It's about dinosaurs. Well, duh. If you saw the thumbnail for this video, you at least know that much. But all the plants are dying, so the herbivores are migrating west in a desperate search of a place called the Great Valley, which supposedly has all the greenery imaginable. Our main character is a baby dinosaur named Littlefoot, who starts out by traveling to the Great Valley with his mother when earthquakes split the ground under their feet and force many herds apart, including Littlefoot and his mother from his grandparents. If that wasn't enough of a strain, a T-Rex named Sharptooth shows up, attacks Littlefoot's mother, and kills her. Yes, kills her! Little baby me sat in the theater crying her eyes out from this horribly graphic display. Like, seriously, 90s kids have Mufasa, 80s kids have Littlefoot's mother, and we're still crying about both. Heartbroken, the sweet baby Littlefoot has to continue his journey to the Great Valley where his grandparents are waiting for him. Along the way, Littlefoot meets other species of juvenile dinos that have also been separated from their families, and they form a ragtag group that gives everything they have to complete their migration. And I really hate ruining childhoods here, but you gotta go where the movie takes you. Watching this movie again as an adult, the Great Valley is clearly a reference to an afterlife like heaven. Think about it. There's a valley out there somewhere that no one has ever seen, but everyone has faith is waiting for them. Not to mention, the rest of Pangea's flora is dying off, but this valley is somehow in a magical bubble that's unaffected by the changes to the environment? What? Now, don't start crying yet. While it's possible that the entire movie is about baby dinosaurs dying because they find the Great Valley moments after their final conflict with Sharptooth, which could have represented their death, but the fact that Littlefoot's mother is not physically in the Great Valley is a good sign that we're looking at an analogy, not a metaphor. For those of you who haven't brushed up on your literature lessons lately, a metaphor is symbolic. For instance, if you say, "My heart stopped when I opened the package," you don't mean that your heart literally stopped and you died. You're just saying that to illustrate your strong emotional reaction. In the case of this movie, arriving to the Great Valley would be a metaphor for death. To the contrary, an analogy will point out how two things are similar. To steal an example from E.B. White, explaining a joke is like dissecting a frog. You understand it better, but the frog dies in the process. So the joke is the frog, and the joke dies if you take it apart to understand it. Or for The Land Before Time, the dinosaurs seeking the Great Valley is the same as searching for heaven. They're both peaceful, luscious places where the residents can be eternally happy. And that's what makes this movie interesting, because once you realize that intent, then the story is really about religious tolerance. Let's break it down. Every type of dinosaur has their own rules, their own practices, their own paths, and they don't intermingle with each other. But all beliefs lead to the Great Valley, aka a beautiful afterlife. Well, except for Sharptooth. No T-Rexes allowed in heaven. I suppose they represent the non-believers, Satan, religious doubt? A physical representation of how the meek shall inherit the earth, so the carnivores can't enter the only survival zone left? I'll let you guys argue that one out in the comments, because I don't know the right answer there. Now, I was gonna go through the movie and try to pick out which dinosaur species was which religion, but yeah, I felt like no matter what I said or how objectively I tried to say it, people would get highly offended. So let's just leave it open-ended for you to decide who represents what. Side note here, I know it seems like an easier pull to claim The Land Before time is about racial tolerance, but that really doesn't work as well with the Great Valley because all herbivores are welcome there. This plot wasn't about keeping certain types of leaf eaters from entering, which would have played out as very racially biased, and we deal with Littlefoot being guided by his mother and handling his crisis of faith in finding the Great Valley after she died. Petrie also has issues with doubt, and that's why he cannot fly because he has trouble with his beliefs. As soon as Petrie does fly, does believe, the Great Valley pops out of nowhere. Then we have the argument between Sarah and Littlefoot where Sarah wants to get to the Great Valley her way, and Littlefoot argues that he knows the right path because his mother taught it to him. And that argument breaks down into a big fight. You can't get any more on the nose than that this is about religion. And notice that there was no easy way into the Great Valley either. Entry had to be earned through hard work and lots of blind faith. Not to mention, the herbivores can all talk while the carnivores cannot for unexplained reasons. This makes the carnivores appear extra savage, perhaps representing people with no religion at all, or doubt, as in the little dinosaurs doubting their faith is like a T-Rex constantly trying to consume them. Don't get me wrong, I don't have an agenda here because I'm not really religious myself. Just saying that if this were a film about racial intolerance, there's no justifiable reason for the carnivores to have no voice, no way to redeem themselves, and no entry into the Great Valley where all the living animals that they consume live. Yeah, think about that. If the meat eaters can't get to the leaf eaters because they're zoned off in this magical place like they're dead, then they're gonna eventually starve off and die too. So there's something there that just doesn't make sense. All those scenarios just don't make much sense to set up racial tolerance in a film just to turn around and exclude certain dinosaurs. And while some racial intent could be in there, the religious symbology is much stronger, making it a better fit overall. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have two other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end, and then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.